Today I'm going to be reviewing Static Season 1, the DC Compact Edition. And before we get into this review, I'm still new to DC Comics, so I'm not sure what this means where it says the new era of the Milestone universe is here, but there's advertisement for the story. I'm not sure if you need to read these for Static's story if it continues in this or not, because I know this character Hardwire shows up in this story. So I'm not too sure about that. It says this is the return. But anyways, let's get into this. And this one actually opens up with like you could say like a prequel chapter. And it involves kind of like what I just showed off about the Miles universe. Because some of those characters are here, but this is pretty much the Big Bang. And right here, this is Virgil first getting his powers. And I kind of liked it how in the TV show, Virgil ends up at the Big Bang because he's there for gang related reasons. And in this one, he went to a protest because he's going to get jumped by a gang. So I like how the show and this comic kind of do the same storyline but different. And I really enjoyed that. But this does keep some elements of the show, but it is its own thing. And to give you guys an example of how it's its own thing, Virgil's mom is actually still alive, unlike in the show. So she's still there. Family and community is a huge part of this story. I've been going over some of the fights actually in the shorts because I really like the build-up of these fights. One thing that you learned about the Bang Babies, it's not told, it's more shown. But the more they use their powers, the stronger they all get. And you can see that with both Virgil and Hot Streak's fights. As it goes on through the story, they both get stronger. And I feel like one difference between comic Virgil and the one from the show is that his electrical powers are a lot stronger here because he can actually shock the ions in the air. Like he can give them a charge or a negative charge if he wants. That's how he's able to kind of capture Hot Streak for a while until he gets stronger. But he could use that to put out the flames. That's also how he saved his house from burning. But some of the elements that they do keep from the show, I enjoyed. I really liked it. I wasn't expecting some of the characters to show up the way that they did. I won't show those panels because I feel like seeing that part is part of the fun. But I feel like this was a really good origin story. I think I've given it a 6 before. I'll probably change that rating to a 7. I can't go much higher than that because although I enjoy the story a lot, the artwork isn't too consistent throughout. And some of the paneling isn't as dynamic. Like this paneling in this shot, it's pretty good. But compared to everything else I've been reading in DC, I've seen a lot better. I'm not trying to talk down on this story. I'm just telling you why I can't give it an 8 or say it's like a B tier. It's a solid C, a high C tier. And this does actually good setup for season 2. Because I will say that the villain for the second season is set up here. I guess I won't give away who, even though I did show what the volume is on my shorts. But if you didn't see that, then that's okay. Because I won't give it away and I won't show the panels that foreshadow it because I really enjoyed the foreshadowing. It kind of what elevated the story for me. And Virgil in this story, he's so much smarter than his show counterpart. And he really shows it off a lot in most of his fights. And he didn't make any of his tech, he got it from someone, but the way he's been utilizing it since he found it, and then the way he uses his powers is so much different. Because in this one, he can stop bullets, which is really cool. But like I said about the paneling, this was one that I kind of got a little confused on because as you can see, Virgil's outline takes over the majority of it. So I wasn't too sure if this meant to read this part first in between these two panels, or if I was supposed to go from this panel to that one and then to this one. And I read it both ways. I went from here to there, and then I went from here to down here, and the panels work either way you read them, which is why I was kind of confused as what's the proper way to do it. But that's what I mean about the paneling not being as strong as I've seen in other series. Like in this one where he makes a suit, it's a little awkward too with the hat placement right here because it's kind of set up that he's missing a piece to the outfit, but you already see it before he gets to that realization. So it doesn't really work towards the reveal. But like I said, this is still a good story. But the paneling is one reason why I can't say it's a B tier or C tier. Or no, it is a C tier. I can't go higher than that. And Virgil has a lot of good moments with his dad. But I'll probably stop flipping through right here because a lot of the things I said that are really good about this story are about to show up, and I don't want to show any. But before we end it, I do want to talk about Richie. It's really cool. He's pretty much the same from the show. They even kept the character design. But I am pretty sure that in this storyline, if you've seen the show, you know that Richie becomes Gear. And the way that this story goes, I don't think he'll become Gear in here. Just because he wasn't around the Big Bang when it happened, and Virgil didn't meet up with him after the Big Bang. So there's no way that he got the powers. And actually in this story, he goes like undercover with Virgil, and he gives himself the code name Yellow Gear. And I think that's as close as we will get to Gear. But like I said, this is a really good story. The characters are definitely the strongest part. Like I said, it was focused on community, and I think it nails that part for it, and the family aspect. Because Virgil having both parents in this one is actually really strong, and they do use that. I'm glad they just don't throw away his parents. They're actually a big part of this story. But I already gave my negatives of why this is a C tier, but I think it's a strong C, a strong 7. And the setup for season 2 actually got me really excited. So while I am excited for the next one, I do think this was a solid origin story. And I really did enjoy it. I really hope it gets to season 3. At this time, there's no announcement. But I think I'm going to just keep covering the story because I really want it to continue. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you all in the next one.